Welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Experience podcast, where I continue to bring all the dope entrepreneurs that I know. And today is nothing light because I have three other entrepreneurs here with me that are really amazing. And you know what? All of y'all have been on the podcast before.
Hey.
That's so cool.
I love that.
So while you're here, make sure that you subscribe to this channel because only haters don't subscribe, and you're not a hater. And only boosie ass people don't like and share. And you're not boosie either. So like and share this. We're just gonna kind of go into it. Would y'all like, well, not would y'all like, will you introduce yourself? Let the people know who you are. Start with whoever. Popcorn it out. We go to my left, clockwise.
Well, hello. My name is Charnay. I am a licensed cosmetologist in the Bay Area. I own a beauty salon in Fremont. I am also a part of Terry's amazing community, and I'm super excited to be here. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
And you didn't ask me anything else, so that's all I have right now.
That's all I need.
My name is LaRonda Sullivan, everyone's favorite bomb-ass esthetician. I am a licensed esthetician, and I'm located currently in San Leandro, but transitioning to Richmond, California. And I myself as well is a part of Terry's amazing entrepreneurship program. And thank you for having me again.
For sure.
I'm Miley B. I'm a podcast host as well, and I am also a manager. So that's pretty much it. Oh, I'm also part of the community.
That's cool. Listen, I promise you, I didn't plan like for you three to be here and like shout out to the community. But thank you for the plug. You feel me? Shout out to the Entrepreneur Members Club, formerly known as, but now it's called Content Creation University. It's the rebrand. So we are Content Creation University. So that means y'all got to get rid of y'all EMC merch and get new shit.
What?
Dang.
That means you're going to give us some new
that means,
t-shirts
yeah,
and things?
discount.
So
Out with the old, in with
Out
the
with
new.
the old,
New year,
in with
new
the
brand.
new. Yes,
That's
new year,
how you
new
keep
brand.
them sales up, I guess.
Yeah, that
Yes.
exactly. You're
Branding.
supposed to
Yes,
rebrand.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's
All
smart.
Okay. So today I kind of want to talk about the hustle culture. In today's time, a lot of us just think hustle, 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 right? We always have to be on the go, on the move, selling, working, like, oh, I sleep when I die type situation, right? That's what's embedded in us as entrepreneurs and what they say. And so I just want to kind of talk about that. Let me know, what is your perspective on the hustle culture?
You know what? I think it can be very toxic at times.
For sure.
Just to keep going until you burn yourself out is just not smart. Because we do need to rest, we do need to sleep, we need all those things to be able to be successful and of value. So I think we as entrepreneurs have to change the hustle culture a little bit. Like, it's good to hustle, but also put yourself first and make sure you're good, because if you're not physically, mentally able, nothing is going to flow at all. And I've
True.
learned just from my own personal experience of just being mentally exhausted, burnt out, and it's not conducive to the hustle at all. But we are out here betting on ourselves. And like, just before I came here, I was a little late because I took a client. I was like, you want me to say no to many? What?
Well, I'm glad we were running a little late.
It worked
'Cause I'd have
out
been
perfect.
mad, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I agree with Charnay. It's very toxic. That's like one of the you have to go to this unlearn and relearn phase of your life where you unlearn a lot of the toxic things that you're taught as a child, and sleeping when you die. Like, what the heck? Like, when you really break that down and think about it, you like, really? What the hell? So you want me to work my butt off and not enjoy any of the things that I worked hard for? Because if I'm working and hustling 24/7, that means I'm not eating like I'm supposed to. I'm not exercising like I'm supposed to. I'm not hydrating myself, and I'm not taking care of my mental. And taking care of your mental is like one of the most important things that you need to do so that you can do everything else. So I definitely had to kind of transition from that and words are very powerful. And I don't want to say stuff like that. I'll sleep when I'll rest when I'm dead. Like, what the hell? Are you serious?
Yeah.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does.
But I think it's because we're Americans. Like there's a couple people that I know that are not Americans. They're like from London or from different parts of the world. They have a different perspective. They think it's a positive. Like we think it's negative because we're in that kind of environment. But in other countries, they don't have that accountability, the work ethic, so they think of it as a pro. Whereas we're capitalistic society where it's work, 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 and all about money. So I think the pro in that is we know how to hustle. Like you can go pretty much anywhere and learn how to build a business and pretty much work your way up through whatever struggles you might have. In other countries, it's not so. Like people are stuck in their classes and there's not a lot of room for growth. So yes, I think it's toxic, but I also think it has a pro. Like if you were to move out, that's why a lot of people, they are so successful when they move overseas because they have that hustle mentality and it's cheaper overseas.
I think even moving out of state lets you know. We are in California.
Mhm.
The hustle is real out here.
Yeah,
We
like
can
shit,
go
you ain't got
somewhere
no
else
choice.
and literally build cities with these mindsets and be successful and make it look easy. Because I've gone places and I'm just like, y'all really need to have this. It should be this. Why aren't you doing this? These people want this. And it's like they're comfortable with where it's at. Like, you know, but us, we're like, oh, we can make money off.
And you got to remember, though, in other countries, their food is not as processed as our food is.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
So they tend to live longer than we live because
Ooh.
they're eating better and they're taking care of themselves better. So they can work hard and hustle and enjoy what they worked hard for because their lifespan is longer than ours.
When is the last time you guys felt like overwhelmed?
Oh, I got a good story.
Like from like the hustle, from being on, like it's a thing to always show up. So when is the last time like you've been like overwhelmed, like in this entrepreneur experience?
I have a good story for this one.
Come on.
So it was probably in November of last year. Like I did oh, maybe it was October. I did like 5 hours worth of recording. And it was fresh off of a 12-hour shift, so I was already exhausted. And by the end of the shift, I had felt so drained and so just out of body, and I just wanted to cry. So I sat in my car and I cried for like a good 30 to 40 minutes because it was just I didn't feel well.
Right.
And the next day I canceled everything. I had more recordings. I canceled recordings, appointments because I needed to be at home. And it was just too much on my mental and energetically. I think a lot of people don't understand that when we're podcasting, it's a transaction, and a lot of us talking to these people is active listening. So by the end of 5 hours, I was more than drained. Not only did I deal with a team of 34 people and strategically planning on how to make sure that I'm meeting my goals, but then I came and exerted myself in that way. And then I was supposed to do it again. There was just no way. I damn near wanted to quit because it was just, I didn't understand.
Podcasting or the job?
Podcasting.
Podcasting.
Yeah.
You're like, I ain't going to job. Okay. I feel like, did you have guilt? Did you feel guilt of like canceling? Because a lot of times when we put ourselves first or when we do some shit for ourselves, we feel guilty.
Yeah.
So like, did you, in that moment when you canceled, did you feel guilty?
I don't think it was guilt. I felt like a failure
Okay.
because we live in a culture where it's like you can have it all if you work hard enough.
Yeah.
So I felt like I failed. I'm very competitive at that. So it was really just
I feel that.
a shot to my ego because I like to stay on top of podcasting. I like to be in my realm. So for me not to be in love with it at that point, it was really heartbreaking. So it's hard to choose yourself in that lane.
All right, ladies, overwhelmed?
I can say I'm overwhelmed right now. Just after the holiday time.
Okay.
November and December have been the busiest months for me as far as business, going to events, holiday parties, galas, mixing and mingling, and still talking to clients throughout the day. Like, if I could sit here and think about the number of people that I've talked to in the last 60 days alone, it's well over 100 people, like over 100 conversations had, connecting with people, networking, mixing and mingling, and showing up and being fully present to listen and talk, to be able to receive what it is that I'm even in that room for.
Yeah.
So like today, I'm literally on fumes. I'm going to admit I had a sip of an energy drink after. I keep to anytime people offer me an energy drink, I say no, because 10 years ago, it's been well over 10 years since I had an energy drink. And today I took 2 sips because I'm that tired.
Relapse.
Yeah. Oh,
I know, I
relapse.
feel bad. I'm sorry, bad
Oh,
influence.
But no, it's because
You could have told me no, but you ain't had to come to this motherfucking podcast. But
no,
I'd be
but
like,
it's
no.
one of I know, but there's things that you have to show up for.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And like you show up for me, and I'm showing up for you. Just like I was like this year, I'm only showing up for people who show up for me.
Amen to
Period. I
that.
can't overextend anymore.
that.
I
Mhm.
can't do last minute. Like if you knew 3 months ago and you're telling me yesterday that is tomorrow, I can't. Like my life is not set up like that. Like I have to move things around.
Yeah.
So like that's me putting a boundary and respecting my own time, because as an entrepreneur, you're like, I don't want to miss it. Like that could have been my shot. I could have met so and so. I could have did this. I could have that.
Yeah.
But like right now, I'm like, I'm tired, but I'm showing up and I'm fully here and I'm fully present, because this is what I want for myself. This is
Yeah.
what I've been working for. But definitely taking some time off just to regroup. Like I planned out my year, so that lets me feel a little more at ease, and
Yeah.
it's not me just flying at the seat of my pants right now.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm overwhelmed now, but I'm going to reel it in. I'll be okay.
Okay.
And we're gonna, and LaRonda, I have to say, the last time this happened to me, she was like, it's okay to say no. Get your rest. You don't have to come. And I'm like, I know, I'm coming though. You know, because it's like, for me, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I
Yeah.
don't want to, like, if I say no, I can't, just know, like, oh,
She really can't.
she really can't.
Yeah, she
You know
can't.
what I'm saying? Like, I'm not making up excuses. It's just like, I genuinely will just sit there, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know? So, yeah.
I want to say my last time feeling overwhelmed like that was September. It was in 2023, so a little before September, but it was like the combination of me wearing many hats. It was me being working a 9 to 5, being an entrepreneur, being a mother, being a wife, and doing all of that stuff and pouring into everybody else and not myself. And it took a toll on me mentally. Like it was bad mentally. I was actually suicidal. So it's like when I had that moment and I had my, my support team come in and step in and kind of get me together, that's when the light bulb went off. And I was like, I got to make some decisions. And it was decisions in different aspects of my life that I had to make those decisions. But I had to do it because I need to be the best version of myself so that I can show up for my children, because those are the people that matter the most to me, because I have to take care of them. And if I'm not showing up for myself, I can't show up for them like I need to and, have a good mind state. So like I told you, you don't have to show up for everything. And I'm the type of person, like I talk to everybody, I get along with everybody, but I didn't realize that doing that, it takes a lot of your energy. So I have to be very strategic on who I'm pouring my energy into, because I have to make sure, I'm kind of taking care of myself. And don't get me wrong, that sounds easy, but it's actually
hard.
a lot
Very
of work.
hard.
It's
Yeah.
really hard, especially when you are an entrepreneur, because like she said, when you're dealing with, you go from one place dealing with these people, you're this version of yourself. And then when you come to
Yeah.
another place dealing with another group of people, that's a different version of yourself. So having these
Right.
different versions of yourself, that shit is draining.
For sure.
Right. My mom said something to me, and I'm really standing on this year. She was like, you have to realize when someone's inviting you because they want you there,
Mhm.
or they're inviting you because they know you'll show up.
Yep.
And I was like,
Ooh.
But tell me, explain. Let's talk about that.
so
Like in hearing that, what does that mean to you?
for me, it's like people will invite you because they just want people around them. I just need to fill this room up with people. And like, you could come, you could come, you could come. But like, if you're like, Charnay, I'm having this, I really want you to be here and be a part of it.
Mhm.
Come on this day. you want me here.
Okay.
But if you're just inviting everybody, like you got to know the difference between this is an open public invitation or this is exclusive to you.
Yeah.
And you don't always have to show up when it's just what, you know what I'm saying? You show up
Yeah.
for who you show up for. So that's why I said this year, like I'm showing up for people that show up for me, that have been showing up for me. It's like, you're not going to come in now and then try, like, we've been rocking with each other for a little bit now, and it's like you guys can ask me to come somewhere and I'll be like, yeah, I'll be there, or no,
True.
I can't, be
Yeah.
very transparent. But I'm just not opening myself up. Like I gotta reel it in and set some boundaries and know which direction and what's worth showing up for too.
Okay. I like that.
Me
That was
too.
good. Social media. Woo! Social media is a job within itself. As entrepreneurs, we have to be present on social media. Like, you're not visible, you're not present. You either ain't doing it or people ain't buying from you because they don't see you. It's a pressure. That's like one of the parts of always being on, right? So, making content, posting content, being consistent, like that shit matters, but it's a lot of work. Like, how do y'all deal with this realm and this era of like always being on for social media? How does that take?
I hate it.
You hate it?
I
I'm not gonna lie.
I struggle with it because I like to be present in what we're doing, and I
Mhm.
forget, let me pull out my phone, because it feels now like I'm doing this for the gram and I'm really doing this in real life.
Yeah.
Like this is my real life.
For
Like
sure.
these aren't actors, these are real people, and I need to make sure that I'm here for that.
Yeah.
But every time pulling out, that is so hard. It really is. But you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
Y'all all know that being social media, we have a love-hate
For
relationship.
sure.
I'm trying to refrain from saying I hate it, because when you say that, it just changed the energy of everything, and you just be like, damn, why I gotta do something I hate doing? So I social media is another audience that you have to show up for, and and everybody can see that.
Yeah.
We're in this room and I can show up one way, but it's like when I'm on social media, I have to show up
Mhm.
up here because the whole entire world is going to see that
Right.
version of me. And I
Right.
don't ever want somebody to come be like, you remember that one time that LaRonda was on social media and she was looking like, duh, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want that, because that's not who I am.
Right.
And it's you're not getting a post from me every day. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
When I hire somebody, it'll probably happen. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
It might happen. It might not.
It might not.
may
Yeah.
But just for me mentally, like, I don't know why. And Terry has said this to me so many times. It doesn't take that long to create, a post or whatever. But for me, it takes me like 30 to 45 minutes to create one freaking post. And I don't know why. And I think I don't know why, but then I'm going to say why. I don't know. I mean, not I don't know why. I think it's like, because I want everything to be perfect. And I'm
Mhm.
learning, and I've just recently noticed that about myself. I want everything to be like perfect, and everything does not have to be perfect. So that's, I guess, my OCD that I have to work
Yeah.
on. And that's something that is going to take some time, because I realize that, like, now that I'm, then made a transition in my life, I'm noticing things and I'm like, this does not have to be perfect. So I got to figure out how to put a post together in like 15, 20 minutes
Yeah.
so that I could get it out there.
One of the things I'll say is because number one, we overthink social media.
For sure.
And so because we overthink it, that means we are taking longer than what it
Mhm.
should be, right? The other thing is that we aren't planning. A lot of times when it takes a long time, some shit just takes time, right?
Yeah.
It just can't get over that. But a lot of times we aren't planning it, so we are just trying to do on the spot. And when you're trying to do on the spot, now you got to think of what you're doing, then you got to find the content, then you got to edit it and all of that shit in
Mhm.
your phone. So that takes a lot of time, other than just like planning it out and then just executing, because that makes it much easier. So I think sometimes we are going at it the wrong way. But you said something before I go on, but you said like, oh, I hate it.
I think it's because I have so many different reasons to post certain things, and I
Mhm.
have to monitor it now.
Yeah.
Whereas like I was free to post whatever I wanted at one point, because when I could post whatever I wanted, it was every day.
Right.
I could tell everybody what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, where I'm doing it, who I'm with. But now, because I have the brand now, and then I also have my 9 to 5, and I have to be careful what I post on there,
Sure.
because the representation is not only just the brand, but also what I do as, as a source of income. So I can't be out here wilding out no more, and I can't just. It's no longer personal
Yeah.
necessarily, and I think that's my biggest challenge with it, is that I went from having personal freedom
Yeah.
to now I got to be careful what I say, what I repost, how I look, what I'm doing, who I'm with, because a lot
Right.
of the people that I associate with in my close circle of friends are also managers, or they might be on a different tier. So I have so many blurred lines that I have to be conscious of when I post things.
Yeah.
Or even when my associates will follow me on my YouTube, my Instagram, I don't block them because it's okay for them to watch me, but
Mhm.
having to curate what is and what isn't is really hard for me. Like it used now I understand when my mom used to say, like, be careful what you post on the internet, because now I really do got to be careful, because it could damage what I'm trying to do, like my overall goal.
I interviewed earlier this girl named Bree, and she big following, Instagram, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things she was just saying, like, I just decided to show up however I wanted to. I stopped overthinking it. Oh, I gotta have my hair done. I gotta have my makeup done, eyebrows, all that kind of stuff. She was like, I'll show up, hair messed up, or like this, elbows, ashy, all of that stuff. But it made it easier for her to show up. But then it's also her audience liked it because she was more authentic, right? I think that's the level of authenticity that we look past, because we do feel like we kind of got to be perfect in a sense, right? Like for me, like having a haircut, like every Friday before I shoot a podcast, I make sure I go get a haircut and I'm showing up looking right. But then it's just also like when I'm at home and I'm shooting content, sometimes I'm like, fuck it, I don't got a haircut, I ain't shooting no content. But then some days it's like, put on a hat and I'm gonna just do whatever I do, and I'm gonna just show up authentically and just make it. And when I've done that, or the less polished content that I've made have done really well for me, right? And that is also a thing of like, when I can hire a videographer to do something, and then I can do that same thing, and when I do it, it gets more engagement and better views than when I hire the professional. So I think that something that we have to understand is the polished professional stuff that we trying to go for is not always the better.
Yeah.
And I think that as entrepreneurs, as like hustlers, we think that everything has to be perfect when it don't.
That's
I
true.
agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
I think especially like I've worked as an admin assistant before I was an entrepreneur, and worked in different offices and all that stuff. And I think I've translated that appearance of showing up to work a certain way and a certain mindset into being an entrepreneur, where I do feel like, I do need to present myself a certain way in front of people. But it's like, I met you guys through just my personality, So like,
Yeah.
whoever I show up as, that's who I am. Like, that is what it is. And I think being authentic is very important. And I think that's what makes sales too. Because someone's going to walk up to you and think you're that person online, and you're like, oh, that's just for Instagram.
Yeah.
I was just being
Not really
extra.
that.
I'm really a little, like, but if you're showing up as who you are on your platform and people meet you, that translate a really good connection, and you're still just building your following while you're out. It's your brand,
Right.
your personality is your brand.
Terry, I got a question for you.
What's up?
Do you feel like when you podcast, right, and you go out and you meet people, are they ever surprised that you're the same person you are offline, online? They do that to me all the time.
Yeah. You know what? So I'll shout out to Madi. Y'all know who Madi is? Madi Woodard. He's a big time social media guy. And when I brought him out here to do it, to teach at an event. And me, him, and Dari went to, I think, Morton's, and sat down and had dinner. And as I was talking to him, I was like, dog, you're the same person you are online as you are in person. And I'm
Mhm.
like, that's like really dope.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, some people let followers and stuff get to their head and they be
Right.
real like,
Mhm.
you know, superstars in a way, right?
Mhm.
Starstruck.
And it was just like, he was just like hella cool, hella authentic. And I was just like, no, I can see myself hanging out with you just in general because you are the same person online that you are offline. Like
Mhm.
you're just authentically you.
Mhm.
And I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't expect that. Like really chilling with the homie. And I think that's really dope,
Yeah.
right? To have that. And so that's why I try to be me. That's why I try to be goofy online or
Mhm.
I may cuss or be edgy because that's who I am in person. Like
Yeah.
I don't want you to be this give this polished person and then you see me and he be like, damn, this motherfucker cussing and he said nigga and why you talk about sex and giving dirty
Right.
jokes and look at his bad humor. I'm
Right.
like, so I try to make sure I incorporate that in my
Your warning
content.
label.
Yeah,
You're like,
because
it's
I
my-
want you to know, like, hey, this is who I am. So if I say this joke, and I don't want you to be like, why you like that? Like,
Yeah.
even like me when I have clients, we have, so Crystal in our group, right? I met Crystal through somebody else, and she hired me as a one-on-one coach. And when we were working, I told her, I said, listen, disclaimer. I said, sometimes I give analogies, and an analogy that I may give on social media or something may be like reference about sex or something like that. But I do that because it can help you understand what I'm saying, right? Because in reality, shit, we all know what the hell sex is.
Right.
And so if I be like, well, it's kind of like this, like, oh, I just got a post, or you're trying to drop a product, right? I think this was the scenario. She trying to drop a product and she just trying to drop it. I'm like, nah, man, you got to warm it up, do a little foreplay, get it wet before you just put it in there, right? But when I say it like that, it's
You
like,
get it.
oh, like I get it. Like I get it, right? And so that makes people understand. And so I would use that terminology, but I also got to get a disclaimer like, hey, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable, especially as a
Right.
man working with a woman. Like,
Right.
I'm going to say some things, this, like, you got a boyfriend, I don't want your boyfriend to get mad. Like, I want you to have this understanding. And it's like, okay. But it's just like, I just want to be me, right? I had the conversation with Cam about me doing the nigga is trying. It was just like, do you think that you can expand on that? Do you think businesses will hire you because you say a nigga a lot and that? And then it's just like, shit, I don't know. They might, some might and some won't.
Yeah.
But it's just also like, that's who I am, right?
Yeah.
Because once you get big enough, they don't give a fuck what you say. They
Right.
just look at you as like, that's somebody I want to work with. Jay-Z, Gary V cuss all the time. Jay-Z
Right.
say nigga and all that. Like, ain't nobody gonna tell Jay-Z no, that they don't want to work with him.
You know who I admire? I admire Marshawn because Marshawn Lynch. He's
Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch,
always
hey.
Man.
the
Whatever he
same
want.
all the time.
And it is
He
funny and
has-
entertaining.
It's
he
very
has
funny, and
some
he
of
got
the-
some good
Yes.
contracts with some good people because
Yes.
he's
Yes.
always himself. You
Yeah.
know, I'm from Oakland, and you go get that.
Yeah, I like watching Marshawn like now
Yeah.
after football.
Yeah.
You really see his personality.
He hella
like
funny.
he's hella funny. He hella cool. I be watching him like doing the different skits and or he be in places like I'm gonna teach you how to dance like you from the Bay, right? Doing stuff like
Man.
that. He's him,
Yeah.
He
and people
is.
love that. And so I think in this hustle culture that we just kind of like go away from being us.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like I think that's one of the importance of this conversation is just like don't forget who you are.
Yeah,
Right.
we're
You
groomed
know,
to
be
do
you.
corporate America
Mhm.
Right.
and to be in their image,
The
and it's
in their
like
box.
half of the people in corporate America are mental and suicidal because they're really
Right.
not happy with
Yeah.
the way they're living their life because they can't be themselves. You got to know how to
Yeah.
code switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in this content realm, in this content conversation, there's a thing that we have to do to like a balance. There's a balance. How do you guys find the balance of sharing just enough
Mm-hmm.
without oversharing and like kind of keeping your privacy? Like, what does that look
Ooh,
like?
That's a very good question. And that's something that I'm working on for 2025. That I'm working on for 2025 because I am very transparent and
Mhm.
I'm an open book. But as I get older, I want to filter it a little bit because I don't want everyone to know everything about me. I don't want everyone to just know. you can know who I am, but you don't need to know like my business when it
For
comes
sure.
to certain things, because that relationship is for the people that's close to me. Like me and Sharnae might be having a conversation about something, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go on social media and be like, girl,
Yeah.
let me tell you,
Right.
you know, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do that, because at the end of the day, I still have a reputation that I'm trying to uphold. And I have children that I don't want to find out certain things
Yeah.
on social media.
For sure.
So it's like, I'm working on that for 2025. I'm working on not giving people so much of me, because that's the balance, when I don't even really think there's a such thing as balance, because in one point in his life, you know, my children may need more of my attention. In this part of my life, my business may need more of my attention. So balance is a tricky word,
For sure.
but it's just the thing about figuring out what you need to do for yourself to keep yourself where you need to be mentally.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes
Yeah.
That makes sense. What you?
I think about it two ways. Like, how's it gonna affect me, and then do I really want everybody to know this?
Yeah.
Right.
Some things are just meant for me.
For sure.
Mhm.
So especially when it comes to kids, like I have a lot of kids that are around me, so I don't really like them to be like front and center in the social media realm, because I don't like, let's say hypothetically, we all want our business to pop in different ways. If I am ever where I want to be, I don't want them to go after the kids that I'm associated with.
Right.
Whether it's my kids or a family kid, I just think about things, or even family members. Like some of my family members are really private about their lives. So, like Christmas time, I didn't really post too much because that was a personal moment. You know?
For sure.
I just think about it those two ways.
That is very, I agree. That's where I'm at right now, is what do I want people to know? And what I've learned just in my journey of life is we do have like highs and lows, and I don't share anything that I'm not fully healed from.
Yeah.
Like if I could talk about it, like I'm healed from it. If someone can ask me questions, like I could heal, you know, like I'm
Yeah,
good.
for sure.
But I don't put anything out there where it will catch me off guard if someone brought it up to me. My family, my relationships are very private. You're not going to know who I'm dating, who I'm with. Like, yeah, I'll put like my kids, because like my family follows like my personal page. And then like a lot of my clients, when I first started, I started in my house. So they were around my kids,
Yeah.
and they see them and they spoke to them and had interaction. So I've kind of pulled back from that a little bit, just because it's like, okay, you guys are still clients, you know, like if you want to know my personal life, like, you know, we can be in contact and things like that. But like, I'm really trying to draw a hard line between personal and business,
Yeah.
and not have them combined, because you do need to have privacy.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to have just your personal life to be private.
I think you said something, and I kind of want to touch on that vulnerability, right, with our audience as an entrepreneur. How do you communicate vulnerability? Like, it's too much. I need to take a step back. I need to recharge. Like you were saying, like you worked and did that, then the next day you was like, I just can't do it. I gotta stop. Right? How do you do that without feeling guilty? Right? Because like you said, it's embedded in us to be like sleep when I die, work hard, and it's just like I'm grinding, I'm trying to make it. And so it's just like, but sometimes we need to recharge and pull back. But in recharging and pulling back, we feel guilty because it's like, damn, I could have made this money, or oh, I could have did this, or are we watching somebody else and be like, dang, I ain't going hard enough. And so we kind of, get on ourselves, but not going as hard as we think. But we also, like a phone, like I have this phone, I use this phone throughout the day. I got to recharge it. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And I think sometimes we forget to recharge ourselves as much as like we charge our phone. So like in your mind, like what do you think is the right way, or not even the right way, but like how do you do it without feeling guilty?
I think, I don't even know if it's like guilt. For me, when I schedule time off to rest, I literally do that. Like I have it on my calendar, rest day. And my partner taught me that, because I would go so hard, and then he would be like, did you eat? Did you sleep? Did you do any of this? And it's like, no, I didn't. And he was just like, you need to schedule those
Mhm.
times because I'm watching you and you're like burnt out.
For sure.
Like,
for sure.
put it on, and he put it on my calendar, put it on my phone, rest, go to sleep. Nothing happens on this day. And once you set it in your mind, like, this is what I'm going to do, this is my plan, the guilt goes away because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right. But also for me, if I take extra time where I'm like, I need this time, I do have to like calm myself down because I'm like, dang, I haven't made money in 2 days. I'm depressed.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, that is something that I like truly battle with, is like on my off day, I'm like, I am not making any money right now. This is crazy. And then I'm like, it's your off time. It's just like any other job. You put in your vacation time, you take the time off, and you show back up, and you're back in motion. It's not forever. And I think in our mind, because we're always on go and hustle, 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 the slowdown is like, I don't know how to slow down.
Yeah.
I really don't. So you have to like figure out what slowing down even looks like for you. Is it
Mhm.
turning off your phone? Is it sitting in silence? Is it going on a walk? Like, what does turning off even look like? Because it's different for everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
Like, for me, turning off, I could just turn off my phone and be in a room in silence. Or I could just go outside, and that's me just turning off, disconnected, unplugged, and I'm at where I'm at doing what I'm doing. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's what works for me. But somebody else, it may look different. So you
Yeah.
have to figure out what that looks like for you.
Yeah.
You know
Sometimes
what I'm
I
saying?
drive in silence. I
Yeah.
don't play no music,
Right.
no podcast, no nothing. Because a lot of times I'll be like, oh, well, I'm driving. This your time to listen to an audiobook and watch a podcast and learn
Because
and
you
not
want to
listen to music.
consume
Because you
your
want to
brain.
consume and all of
Yep.
that. But then sometimes I just in silence
Yep.
and just like relax and just think, just have time to myself.
And communicating that to the people that are in your space, because I have to communicate that to my kids. Like, look, mommy's going in here for a little bit. I'm going to take a break. If you need anything, let me know. But I did teach my kids how to, like, pretty much they're independent. They can cook
sure.
and do all the things on their own, because I need time to just myself.
Yeah.
As a single mom, and you don't have someone there, and you're always on go with your kids, you have to tell them, like, look, mommy's tired. I just need a break. And my kids, even for them, if I'm like, oh, I have something that I'm going to do, but I think I'm going to cancel because I want to do something with you guys. My kids are to the point now, like, Mom, if it's going to make money, if it's going to get you ahead, like, just go do it and have fun. And, you know, we're going to be here. Like, I had a holiday party that I went to, and my kids, I told them, like, I'm going to go to this party, I'm going to come back, and then tomorrow we'll go to the movies. These kids waited up for me, came home, and I still had energy. And we were just in the kitchen talking and playing, but I reconnected with them because their time is just as valuable as all these other things that I'm doing. And I'm doing it for them, but I'm coming back, spending time with them, letting them know, like, Mom, you really appreciate, like, I love you guys. Like, what are we going to do? You want popcorn? You want soda at night? Like, what are we doing? We still turning up, because I was just turned up. Like, let's go, you know, like,
for sure.
But just being able to communicate that to anybody, and that's a boundary, and that's self-care, and that's self-love right there, is just like, I just need a moment. I'll be all right. I'm gonna bounce back. I'm gonna just head in here real quick. All right, I'll be back.
Good thing, Lord.
She just like brought something to my attention when she said her partner was the one that showed her that she needed to take time to herself and like forced her to do it. And that's why I think I definitely think partnership is very important for people. And I also believe that having that village is important, because if I'm starting to feel burnt out, or I have certain business decisions that I need to make, I'll call certain friends that will understand it. Like, I'm gonna call one of my entrepreneurial friends because they understand it. I'm not gonna call one of my 9-to-5 friends because they don't get it.
Right.
And sometimes, like, when I do feel like I'm spiraling out of control, I know exactly who I can call and who I can talk to talk me off the ledge.
Right.
So I definitely went through a phase where I felt guilty, and I always felt like I had to go, do this. And I'm always moving. But like I said, that took me to the point where mentally I started sinking.
For sure.
So it's like, now I have to, I'm still trying to find that quote unquote balance with that, because if I know I need to rest because I got all this stuff ahead of me for the following week, sometimes I can rest and I can just get real relaxed and be like, I ain't doing nothing tomorrow either. I'm gonna go back to work on this day. So it's like you gotta find that balance, and you gotta have those people in your corner that's gonna be like, okay, you doing too much. Get up. It's time for you to get to work and stuff like that. The people that know you the best, and you know, people that see you on social media, they're not gonna know that. Like we've literally seen people on social media going, and then all of a sudden you hear something about them like such and such is in the hospital because they had this and this and that. Yeah. You gotta have those people around you that's gonna help you, you know, stay. And I keep going balance because it's no such thing as balance, but you got that's the word everybody's used to using is balance. So when it's my rest days, I'm resting. I learned to. I started getting up early so that I can go to the gym. And I used to tease my friend that go to bed super early. I'm like, oh, you go to sleep too early. But when I started getting up that early, I see why, because you're starting your day before a lot of other people are starting their day. So when I be like, no, I'm not coming because I'm tired, I'm about to go to bed. I'm in the bed at 8, 9 o'clock. I'm ready to go to sleep because I know that the next day I got to get up early, you know, and stuff like that. So that's like kind of me finding that balance with myself and having a conversation like, I didn't go to the gym one day and my friend was like, did you go to the gym? Or I didn't go I said, I think I mentioned I didn't go to the gym because I was tired. The question was, why are you tired? And I'm like, because I was out at a Christmas party. No, because you gave too many people your energy. Like being around those people is giving too much energy. And I got defensive and I'm like, I didn't get too many. Those people are good. They get good energy from me. You know, they give me good energy, good vibes. That's not what I mean by that. I had to get it had to be broken down to me. Like just because you're giving off energy doesn't mean, and you're tired from it doesn't mean that it's negative energy. It's just you entertaining different people doing different stuff. And I thought about it after I got off the phone. I thought about it. And I was like, that is true. I got up super duper early that day. I went over there. I did my friend's hair. She has a head full of locks, did her hair. And then we were, you know, doing the family stuff. But I was literally falling asleep on the couch. And this was a Christmas party. I was falling asleep on the couch because I was so tired. And then my kids wanted to go see the lights, the Christmas lights. And so I was like, I'm going to go home. You take them to the house. And I took a nap on the couch for about 15, 20 minutes. And I took them to the Christmas lights. And I was like, damn, I really did run myself into the ground that day unintentionally. And we do that a lot. So it's like, so it was like, I had to think, and I was like, that life lesson was a good lesson I needed, but it was from somebody in my village that I talked to a lot and that knows me and had to break it down to me, you know, so that, you know, I can get a clear understanding.
That is important.
I mean, they pretty much said everything, I would say. I think the only thing is I just really had to think about what makes me happy, like in those moments, because you just feel ungrounded and really unnerved. I just do something that makes me happy. I have to do something. Because most of the time it's just me being surrounded by my family or reaching out to the group chat so I could not feel crazy or feel like I'm losing control, because that's really what it is. It's a control thing. Like we run off of calendars because we like to control our lives. For sure. So the biggest, I think for all entrepreneurs, the biggest and hardest thing we have to overcome is the amount of control.
Oh my God.
We have to give up sometimes.
That is.
I'm taking my life back into my own hands. I'm controlling what I do moving forward. Because if you don't, honey.
Okay, I like that. So let me ask you this: what are some things that y'all enjoy doing? What is something that y'all mental health is very big. I don't think it's talked about enough, especially in this entrepreneur space. But as we're talking about recharging, give me something you like to do to recharge. What is something you like to do? I mean, listen,
we like to partake in adult activities.
It's okay to get exercise.
I was about to say,
you got it.
Like I said, okay, my partner takes care of me, and when I have to take care of myself, I like to go in nature walks and do, you know.
Like after my partner takes care of me,
we go and do other things. You know, I love the beach. I love the ocean. There are plants on this earth that are really amazing for your mental health. And I like to do them sometimes.
You like to do the plants?
Like what? You turn the music on and the plants start dancing and you like dance with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those plants.
I like it. Listen.
And they talk to you and everything. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and y'all can beat around the bush, but
Oh,
I ain't gonna sit here
we
and act
listen,
like.
but we don't judge.
Listen,
Let's just, okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Like,
All
we
right,
can have a
so-
listen and we don't judge segment, okay? Because
Okay.
sex is one hell of a thing that I love and I enjoy. So
Yeah,
that
I
is
mean-
definitely something that is a stress reliever
It
for me,
is.
especially as a man.
You
I
know
don't
why?
But-
Because sex is it's shunned on so much, and people look at it in a negative way. It's not
I don't
negative. What
think
the
it
hell?
is no
It's
more,
not.
though.
It's actually very
People are more
healing
open about
in
it now.
life.
So it's like if you like
Yeah.
to do your thing, you like to do your thing. That is a stress reliever. It let off certain hormones that need to be released.
Definitely relieves. It definitely releases a lot of endorphins, right?
For sure.
Outta here.
For sure.
It's hot.
We're gonna take she over here with the shy face. For me, I like to go out in nature as well. I like to lay up under certain people, a certain person, I should say, not people, a certain person.
I like to
Oh.
lay up.
I like to disappear and go to some of my friends' house. And I have places where if I wanted to fall off the face of the earth and nobody could find me, I
Yeah.
have people houses I can go to.
Yeah.
And, they're relatives, some are friends, So
Yeah.
I like to sit by myself sometimes and just, reflect. And, during those reflection times, you might get some tears, but they're usually, happy tears. Because you have to remember that we do a lot and we don't appreciate. I know I don't appreciate myself enough, and I don't give myself the credit that I should give myself, because
good.
when I tell my story to people be like, "What? Like you still smiling and you would never tell?"
Mhm.
It's cause like I'm not finna drown in sorrow and stuff like that. Life happens to all of us, and it's your choice to either sit in it or move. If you sit in it, you know that that's not going to be
Choices.
a good thing
For sure.
for you mentally.
Yeah.
So it's like shit happens. Move on.
Yeah.
Sit in it in that moment, reflect on it, and then do what you need to do to get yourself out of that headspace so that
Yeah.
you can be the best version of yourself.
Okay.
I was gonna say something when you were saying that. I think it's important to know where to go and when to go. Like I have a friend that I can go to her and just literally she will just hold space or whatever I'm on, she's on that. If I'm crying, she like, let me get the tissues, like,
Yeah.
or if it's I need physical, I have someone to go to for physical attention. If I just need to be alone, like being alone and knowing when and where to do those things, because
Mhm.
not all the time for me, sex is not always a stress reliever for me. That is
Sure.
something just more fulfilling. Like I got to get other things off of my brain before I can even show up physically for someone. And I
Yeah.
had to learn that too. It's like, yeah, we're doing it, but like I'm not really here right now. And that's why it's very important to have your sexual partner really be in tune with you,
For
because
sure.
he would literally stop and be like, what are you thinking about? Like, are you
You're like,
here?
you're not even
And I'm
here
just like,
in
my
this
bad.
moment.
I'm sorry. Just give me a moment. And he'll literally like, so what? You want to talk about something? Like in the middle of,
Everybody needs that person.
you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that is like
Same.
what I need. And that's what I like, is because he can just look at me and just be like, what are you thinking about? You got your thinking vein out. What happened? Or just stopping and laughing, like whatever it is. Like I like to have people like that are so in tune with me as a friend, as holding space, where it's just like, it's great. Like one of my friends, we were sitting in the back seat going somewhere, and like I was looking out the window because I was crying because I was so happy. Like I'm with my friends, we're having a good time, and I'm like crying. And then I like, she's like, "Girl, you okay?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm so happy." She's like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy too." And she was like, "I feel it." And we're just in the back seat, and my one friend was driving and was like, "What is wrong with y'all?" I'm like, "We're happy." She was like, "Oh my God, I'm happy too."
Y'all crazy.
You're
know,
hella funny.
But that's real. Those are real friends to me.
Yeah.
No one's like, "Girl, why are you back there crying?" Like, I was just happy. I'm very
For sure.
sensitive sometimes, like, and it does not stop with just, it could be anything.
Yeah.
So just being in tune with my feelings is very important. And having people that, like, I can tell them I'm sensitive, okay?
Yeah.
Or like right now is not a good time, but those people are my people.
Mhm.
And I love them dearly.
I like that.
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, you talk about this person that you have, and I'm like, I didn't even know he was in a fucking had somebody. I didn't even know he was in a relationship or
Who you talking
nothing.
to?
Like her.
Charnay.
She keep talking
just-
about this
Charnay.
partner who's
Well-
so in tune with her.
Hey, but you know what? When she
It's-
say that, it make me think 'cause it's like a lot of the times, and this will take the conversation left, but this is why a lot of people cheat
Right.
because you are in a relationship with your husband or wife or
Yeah.
or whatever,
And you speak highly
and
of
you speak
them.
highly of them,
And people
but y'all
wanna know.
are grinding so much
Yeah.
that y'all
Right.
lose the connection
Yeah.
to where you can look at me and know something wrong with me and know
Right.
that I need you in this moment to show
Right.
up for me mentally
Right.
and emotionally.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people do what they do because they
Right.
had that other person where they could lay up with and just be themselves, and that person can look at them and be like, what you need right now. The fact that that person that she's talking about stopped in the middle of intercourse
Hey.
and was like, hey, what's wrong with you? What's
Like,
on your
full
mind? Because he
on.
knew she wasn't there
For sure.
mentally. So it's like everybody needs that person. And sometimes your spouse is just not that person, but it's
No.
up to you to figure out which direction you want to go in that
Right.
Damn,
relationship.
that is
That's-
a tough
no, that's
And
conversation.
I learned that I had
No,
to
for
learn this
real.
stuff
after being
after
married.
being married,
Yeah,
after getting a
being married.
divorce.
What?
And I like sometimes things play back in my head because things are playing back because my divorce is real recent.
Mhm.
Some of the stuff that he would say to me. And I didn't pay attention to it because I was so busy being mom and I was
Right.
drained and I was tired and he wasn't showing up for me like I needed him to show up for me when it came to like being at home, being with the kids and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And now I understand where he was coming from.
Yeah.
Do I want to go back? No.
No, we just
But
doing better moving
I
forward.
did learn some things from my relationship.
Yeah.
And that was being with somebody for like damn near 15 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
So it's like I understand now. So
Yeah.
like moving forward, when I move into my next relationship, it's like I understand
Yeah.
where I need to show up. I understand that I can't let myself get burnt out because then I'm not going
Right.
to show up for my kids like I need to. I'm not going to be able to show up for my partner like I need to. And that's something that we have to learn because as Americans, especially in the Black culture, we're just like hustle, 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 work, work, work. The man do this, the woman do this. No, hell no. Ain't no
Yeah.
damn woman role, ain't no man roles. We need to work together as a team and figure out who's going to take
Who's
on this
gonna
role
take
at this
on the
time and who's
roles.
going to take on this role at this time. And then
Yeah.
when we need to swap them roles.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Oh my God.
I feel like
That's balance for real.
And I ain't telling y'all to go cheat on y'all partner.
No.
I'm telling you to figure out your life.
Figure out
Figure
what
that
So
works
that
shit
you
for
can be the
out.
best
you.
version of
Absolutely.
yourself. Because
Definitely.
I never cheated on my partner. So I'm
But-
just like, and now I understand why people do it. Not
Yeah.
saying that cheating is okay and it's
Yeah.
something we should do, but now I understand because you're not getting what you need.
I've learned from being married and then being in a relationship and being single. And I learned where I fell short.
Yes.
Like, because you get tunnel vision.
yeah, that reflection.
And you're like really grinding and you're like, why don't you understand? I'm doing this for us. And it's like sometimes it's like, but I just want to sit here and like, can we go back to the old times when you had
I
a
wanna
9 to
be with
5?
you.
I just
Mhm.
want to be with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
But that's
so,
when you got to balance that out and
Yeah,
be like,
you
y'all take y'all
balance it out.
time,
Yeah.
to do stuff. And like now I can like how somebody tell you something that you're doing wrong, you get hella hostile and you be like,
Yeah.
I do this, I do that.
That's your
Yeah.
But
ego.
now as I've
Definitely
matured
ego.
It's your
Yeah.
ego.
and I've gotten older and I understand, I can go back to my ex and be like, you know what? I apologize for the way I showed up in our marriage because it
Mhm.
wasn't just you, it was me as well. Because
Mhm.
I didn't, know how to do it. Because let's be realistic, a lot of the stuff we look at with older people and their relationships, a lot of our grandparents weren't happy.
Mm.
No,
a lot of our parents
absolutely
weren't
not.
happy, but they
Yeah.
stayed married because
Yeah.
when you get married, you're supposed to stay married. I feel like our generation is the one that we got the highest divorce rate because
Yeah.
I'm outta
we're
here.
learning like, you not for me no more. I gotta
Yeah.
cut. You're not good for my mental. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Or we're just not meshing well anymore, and it's
Yeah.
not gonna return to what we used to have.
Yeah.
It's time to go.
Well, I
It's-
think a lot of people, like coming from a single perspective, a lot of people don't like the people that they're with. Like,
yeah,
as
for
people.
sure.
Yeah.
And like even in the dating phase, like even now that I'm single, I want to like you as a person before I
Mhm.
even entertain that idea
Right.
of being intimate with you
Right.
or being in a relationship. Both should go hand in hand. Like you
Yeah.
shouldn't really be trying to be intimate with just anybody,
Mhm.
which I can admit has been a problem. Is I would sleep with people and confuse that as
Mhm.
love
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
that as connection.
Mhm.
But that was a lack of intimacy and my issues with being intimate with people.
Mhm.
So this time around, being older, I do want to take that time to get to know what makes you you.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
To figure
I
out
like that.
if I like you outside of sex.
Right.
And that's why you guys have
That's
to
what's
do
important.
different
Yep,
things,
other
because you
things
got to
than
figure out
sex.
what this person's like if we're,
Mhm.
out in public, what this person's like if we're
Mhm.
doing is what the person like if we're doing it, and so on and so
Yeah.
on. But
Mhm.
then you also have to remember that I'm not going to always like you,
Like you.
but I
Right.
love you. And the reason why I don't like you right now is minor,
Mhm.
and we're gonna get over this,
Yeah.
little hump that we need to get
Yeah.
over or whatever. But
Yeah.
I still love you. Give me a hug, give me a kiss,
Yeah.
and like he said earlier, I love you. Not
Yeah.
love you, I love you.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to work, but I'm not willing to let my mental go left
Right.
because I love you. Sometimes you gotta love somebody and just let them go.
Let them
Yep.
go. I feel that.
Mhm.
As we are winding down, I'm actually this last question. As entrepreneurs, we have like slow season, right? Every season ain't popping, right? So in us having like slow season, how do you handle a slow season without feeling like a failure?
Um, this so slow season for me is January is a slow month, and then it picks up in February. So I'm gonna be super intentional with my January and planning out what I'm gonna do next and try and get more rest, and just regroup really, because once it's February, it picks up because then it's gonna be spring, Easter, all these different things. So I'm just planning ahead, which I made my board.
Mm-hmm.
Q1 Q1 is already, for the most part planned out. So I'll be able to rest in peace,
Mm-hmm.
right? Mentally, physically, and emotionally. So that's what I'm trying this year. Normally I would just be super like, oh my God, people aren't booking. What's happening?
Yeah.
But this year I'm gonna be super intentional with this free time and just plan it out so the rest of the year could just keep going. This
Yeah.
is
Mhm.
my downtime right.
Yeah, same. January is usually a slower time for me. So I'm using that this year to do my transition from one location to the next location so that I can go hard and heavy and be ready for Valentine's Day because that's when everybody want they
Yep, that's
stuff
when it
on the
starts.
nices.
Definitely.
So I'm just,
Definitely.
getting myself, give myself grace and just doing what I need to do so that I
Ooh,
could
give
pop.
yourself.
Yeah, you
There
have
we
to give
go.
yourself grace, and
Oh,
we're bad at that.
we
Mhm.
I think that comes from a lot from people just don't pay attention to their numbers or don't know,
yeah.
right? And once you are an entrepreneur and you actually pay attention, you will realize like, no, it's slow around this time every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that comes the importance of like analytics and shit like that. I think.
Absolutely.
What about you?
I think it's just patience. Like,
Patience.
especially with us because podcasting is not necessarily like people want to come on your show. So it's more intentional with the interviews and who you're allowing in your space and who you're allowing on your show.
I just want to say thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming. This was a really good conversation. I think we have this stigma of just like we said, just hustle, sleep when we die, and I think that we need to dead that.
Yes,
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
has
We
to
need
stop.
to recharge. We need to have mental health days. We need to relax. Yes, there's a time to hustle, but there's also a time to relax. Sometimes it is grind mode,
Mm-hmm.
right? And sometimes we do need to get in that grind mode, and it can be grind mode season, but
Mhm.
that can't be forever.
Right.
And I think that's something that's important that people need to learn and know. So I thank you all for your perspective and your input on that. And hopefully you guys watching are getting something from this conversation. Do y'all want to give any last words, any things of encouragement you want to tell to the people?
I do. I want to tell people to make sure that you're getting more in tune with yourself and make sure that you are taking care of yourself spiritually, mentally, and
Yeah.
physically so that you can show up for the people that you need to show up for.
I would definitely piggyback on that. It's only one you.
Mm-hmm.
You only have one life, and you can only take one day at a time. And you
Yeah.
can only be in this very moment right now. This moment's not coming back. So be super intentional with your energy, your time. And yeah, I think that's super.
I think I would have to say money doesn't buy happiness.
Oh no,
It does not.
So as much as we like to
Ooh, I don't know.
work hard,
You're like there's
People say that.
you gotta find something that makes you happy. Because
Right.
People with the most money sometimes are the most empty people.
They commit suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's dope. I've seen a conversation where a guy was just like, I have money and I bought everything. What do you do in life when you have everything that you bought everything that you desire for? It was like,
There's
I feel
a
like
whole
now what's
other
next,
world for that.
right? And so I ain't got to them problems yet, but I definitely understand. All right. Again, thank you, ladies. Y'all want to tell the people how to find y'all? How to find you? What's your social media?
My social media is lashes_by Charnay. And then I have Charnay_Danielle on Instagram. And my website is awakenbeauties.com. So I'm with Awakening Beauties all over this year. It's about to be a self-love tour.
Yeah.
I'm going to be
Okay.
loving
Love
on
it.
just my people this year and working
like
with my
it.
friends and
I
doing
like
I'm
things.
glad I'm one of your people.
Yes.
I know, right? I'm glad I'm here.
We made it.
You can find me on social media, Coco's_beauties, Facebook, Coco's Beauties. My website is www.cocosbeautiesllc.com. And my phone number is 510-650-5861. That's my business line.
She like giving out the
Like,
number.
I
I was like,
business
woo.
line, so book an appointment.
You gonna see some crazy stuff now.
That's so
You watch
funny.
the what?
It's on the internet. It's Google me.
I was
That's
worried. I
funny.
ain't gonna lie. I was like, wait a minute.
I was like,
Google
damn.
me, my
I
number's
was
gonna
just
be
thinking
out
like,
there.
damn, I gotta start giving out my number.
Hey, that's that phone that's in there that I turn off.
Okay.
You guys can find me on YouTube at The Wonderland Effect or on Instagram at MyWorld1203. And if you want the website, click on the link tree.
Here we go.
I love it.
Again, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for giving me
How do we
your time.
find you?
What's your name? I'm just kidding.
I am Terry Griffin. You can find me by watching this podcast and subscribing. But I am Terry Griffin on all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, website, everything is I am Terry Griffin. So that's how you can find me. And if you're watching this and you're an entrepreneur, small business owner, content creator, make sure you join the #1 community for us, right? Content Creation University. Y'all see my shirt? Y'all like my shirt? To say, did you
you.
post content? Okay.
Ooh, nice.
I did
You
today.
feel me?
I will
You know,
after
there
this.
we go.
Oh, look, we all wear shirts
Look,
today.
you feel me?
Your
Um,
shirt, isn't that
I
yours?
appreciate y'all for tuning in.
Oh.
I'll see y'all later. Peace.